There we go. Give that yourselves and Bonus and Windermere a round of applause. Just see if I can get my clicker working. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the glorious Lakes International Comic Art Festival. I love that theme music we've got for the show this year. Bruno, Jorge and myself, we're going to do some choreographed freestyle dancing, but we ran out of time to do that before we began. My name's Andrew Sumner. I'm the COO of Titan Comics and Forbidden Planet and the host of Forbidden Planet TV on YouTube. So if you want to see a wealth of creator interviews, check us out. We're easy to find. And I want to introduce two amazing talents from Europe, Mr. Jorge Fornes.
Hi.
And Mr. Bruno Redondo. How are you both?
Fine.
Fine,
Spending
thanks.
Nice days here. First time.
Excellent. It's a beautiful place, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's lovely. Now, before we get going, I have to tell you that we are streaming this event, yeah? So don't do anything wild or outlandish in the background while we are streaming to the globe. And also, I have to say many, many thanks to our key sponsors, the Arts Council of England. Let's give the Arts Council a round of applause as well. So it's your first time in the Lakes then, guys, yes?
Yeah.
And when did you get over? When did you land?
It was
In the afternoon.
Yeah.
More or less. Yes, the flight was delayed 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
And Thursday afternoon, yeah.
Yep, right.
There was a lot of those delayed flights happening of late. So both of you have had a very busy 9, 10, 15 years working in the mainstream American comics market. You both had some amazing success, which we'll talk about. But what I'll do, I think, as we were talking about before, if the guys are going to be doing some drawing, which is going to be streamed here. But before we do that, I'm going to just take you through a lightning fast tour on the background here of their careers. Let's see what we've got. Right, well, this is from Nightwing to Rorschach. This is where we are. There's Bruno, there's Jorge, there's me. Nightwing, of course, a massive success for you, Bruno. What are we looking at here? Oh, yeah, bit of Batman action. Yeah. As an art fan, you look at great art and then you just stop talking for a sec. So can I look at this and talk? I'm going to scroll you through. There we go. That's yours, isn't it, Jorge?
Too many Batmans.
Yeah. You got to love Batman. One of those classic Nightwing covers. Oh, yeah. This is one I absolutely loved, mate, by the way. Fantastic.
Yes, we did
yeah.
a line of comic book covers inspired by the pulp
Yeah.
novels of the USA in the 60s.
Yeah.
I'm doing another bunch for Harley Quinn now.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Close to that.
Oh, it so suits your style, mate. Guys, what for both of you, what was your background? Jorge, how did you get into comics?
10 years ago, I'm almost new on the business.
Yeah.
I used to be working on a car repair shop, a Ford dealer,
Yeah.
during 20 years. And one day I thought, okay, I don't like my life. I wanted to be a comic book artist since I was a child, but I have no chance to do it because when I lived in the 80s, 90s, there is no art schools, no internet, so to be a comic book artist for the USA were not an option.
Yeah.
And someday I say, okay, I want to change that. And I started to draw again. and send my portfolio to the US editors. I didn't know anyone at the business. And go to the Barcelona Comic Con to see the editors, to show the portfolio, and get feedback about that. And second, I started to draw at night. During the day, worked on a Ford garage, and drawing at night, every night. And the second year at the interviews at the Barcelona Comic Con, the Marvel and DC people told me, okay, we like your work. We want to see what you can do without working with the cards, so drawing all the day. And we will give you the first chance to do some pages for Marvel and DC. We want you on board on less than a week. I come back to my home and don't think about, because a lot of people are saying that, but it's not true always. And yeah, that time in 1 week, the same day, I had 2 emails, one from Marvel and another one from DC, gave me the first chance to draw comics for the USA. I left the work and I started to draw full time until now, 10 years later.
Amazing.
So it's a weird story, because I started to work for USA when I had 38.
Yeah. I mean,
Too old.
it's a beautiful story, mate. And you're working in a garage at the point.
Yes.
That's just incredible.
12 hours per day.
Wow.
And drawing at night, every night, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I slept 4 hours a night. And I still slept 4 hours, because my body
Yeah.
don't need sleep too much.
So it's trained by the garage
Yeah.
to only need 4 hours sleep.
I don't want to know anything about cars now.
I understand it. Can you talk a little bit about your process on this particular cover, which I've always loved? Oh, actually, I'm going to let Jorge get on with what he's doing. Bruno, I'm going to ask you the same thing. So, how did you get into comics?
I have been drawing my whole life, and for me, there wasn't a B plan.
Yeah.
So maybe I was stupid enough to believe that I was gonna make it. So today, I think if I had to take that decision right now, I will be maybe more cautious, maybe even coward. But when I was a kid, I was so stupid that I was so bad a student. So I was in love with drawing, with comics. So it's the only thing I always did. And I was trying to pick works in Spanish studios of comics, learning to lettering, to color, and to do. I was the boy for everything.
Yeah.
And the thing is that.
He's still stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just I have been doing my whole life, little steps, always trying to offer my work to different editors. And I have to say that I'm pretty bad finishing the answers. So.
That's all right, mate. That's what I'm here for. Plus, you're very good at other things. You don't need to finish answers, mate.
Thank you.
Not with art like yours. What was your entry into DC? How did that work? How did that come about?
I published some little comics in Spain, but I was making test pages for American editors, but I was convinced that it was gonna be more easy for me to get into European kind of comics than the American comics. The thing is that I was making test pages for French editorials, and there was a convention in Barcelona, which I was meeting a lot of French editors, and everybody said no. And then I went to meet Scott Peterson, who was a DC editor, with French kind of test pages, or I was thinking it was, and the guy gave me my first chance then.
Yeah.
So I started working in not superhero comics, which is what I really wanted to do, but I was working in weird adaptations from movies, TV series, with people with guns. I hate drawing guns and suits and like noir genres, kind of crime kind of genre. And I spent my first years for DC doing that. People with suits and guns.
Yeah. Because you did the Human Target with Len Wein, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did you have much to do with Len when you were creating the comic? Did you speak to him?
No, we didn't speak much. And it was interesting because it was the first and maybe the only time I worked with what they call the Marvel method.
Yeah.
Because the script was not much elaborated. It allowed me to take many storytelling decisions. It was like this line, this text, for full page, for example. So it was funny. It was like working with the trust that you was gonna take the right decisions.
Yeah.
And then he write the dialogues after the pages.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Because, of course, for anybody who doesn't know, if you're an old-time DC fan, you will know this. Of course, is that Len Wein created the Human Target, originally with Carmen Infantino, who was also the publisher of DC, and then went on to there was a very successful series of backup strips, beautifully drawn by Dick Giordano. Recently, of course, Tom King's done a great series. But I loved your Human Target, mate. It was great. It really captured the spirit of the character, I thought.
Thank you, but I feel that we killed Human Target. Because there was really good Human Target comics before us. I don't remember the writer, but do you remember who was writing Human Target?
The first one?
Oh, there's the Vertigo series.
Yeah, the Vertigo
Yeah,
series.
man. That was...
I can't remember, but he's a
Anybody
huge
remember?
writer.
Yeah, it was Milligan. Yeah, spot
Yeah,
on. Good
that's
man.
right. The thing is that when I did Human Target, it wasn't the real Human Target. There was a TV show who only
Right
had
on.
one season
Yeah.
about Human Target that has not much in common with the real Human Target. So it was, that kind of adaptations far from the original place. And we was doing an adaptation of that adaptation.
Yeah, right on.
So it wasn't much cool. So after that, Human Target has been dead for more than 10 years. So Tom King bring him back and make him awesome. I love his Human Target.
It is an amazing book. I think you're talking yourself down though, mate, because I think the beauty of that series that you did with Len is it captured that middle ground between what that show was. Starred Mark Valley, I think. He was also in Boston Legal at some point, and the actual character itself. So I think you're being overly harsh on what you actually achieved.
Well,
There you go, it's a fact. I'm going to explain something about the format of what we're endeavouring to do here. So both Jorge and Bruno are sketching. Bruno is going to be drawing, as you see, long form, and Jorge is working digitally. And when we talked beforehand, both of the guys said to me, well, we'd like to start drawing from the get-go. So I'm endeavouring to alternate my questions so that as I'm talking to one, the other one can carry on with what they're doing.
yeah,
So
because drawing and talking in a different language
yeah,
at the same time should be an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah. I hear it, man. So I'm going to gently walk over and have another word with Jorge. I'm going to try not to put you off your stride here, mate. Oh, you can't see this yet, but I can. You'll see it in a bit. There we go. Lovely. Jorge, so for the first years of your US career, you worked for both DC and Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah. Are there any particular? I've got particular comics of yours that we've talked about that we're going to talk about in a bit. But from that era,
Yeah.
where you're going back and forth, what are the projects that you're most fond of? That you like the most? What did you enjoy doing?
Well,
most?
I started to do Batman 14 pages for a Batman annual in DC, but they didn't like my work because I was a newcomer and I'm self-taught, so I don't have any artistic formation. And I did Thunderbolts issue for Marvel. And I keep working for Marvel doing Amazing X-Men and Wolverine and the X-Men. And 6 months later, my editor left the company, and I was without work at any of the big two. And I started to work with Dynamite, doing Magnus,
Yeah.
with Will Kai Higgins.
Brilliant.
And I loved that project because I had creative freedom. So I thought, okay, I can show now what I can do, not just doing feelings for the big one, because I'm the last name of both. But in Dynamite, I was pretty, I was the first, but I have creative freedom because in change of less money, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And I did that 4 issues miniseries with Magnus. I show what I doing covers, some colors, interiors, and I did the jump to Aftershock to do Hot Lunch Special with Elliot Rahal,
Yeah.
a creator-owned book, 4 issues about the Iranian mob and Irish mob too.
Yeah.
And I loved that project. And then I started to work again with the big two with a better position, you know,
Yeah.
with 2 books, 2 success books at my hands, and show that I can do covers, I can do that kind of things, and I'm not the last one of the list to give jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that 8 years ago, more or less, I started to do Batman commissions at the 80s style, like Matthew Kelly, Alex Todd, and Tompkins sent me a DM saying, okay, I love your work, and I will try to work with you in Batman. And yes,
Yeah.
4 months later, DC sent me an email saying, okay, we will give you the first Batman pages for you to try how it breathes, and was a pretty success. And I started to work in Batman with Mikel Janin and Tony Daniel at the regular Batman title. And well, that's all.
The
until
rest
now.
is history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
When you were working at Dynamite,
yeah.
who was your editor there? Was it Joe Ryban?
Sorry,
Who was your editor at Dynamite?
Matt Hiddleston,
Ah, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
legendary Matt Hiddleston.
Yeah. It's interesting that is the thing that really opened you being able to properly creatively express yourself for the DC guys.
Yes.
And I'm not surprised that Tom reached out in the way that he did. And certainly the first project that you did with Tom that I made a big impact on me
Yeah.
was Danger Street.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it like? And that features so many of my favourite DC characters, essentially the B-list characters of DC. And one of the lineup of Danger Street is my grandfather, Pop Smythe's favourite all-time character, who's not Sergeant Rock, and that was the Warlord, Travis Morgan. Yeah. So when you got that assignment, what was it? Because your versions of all those characters are so beautiful.
Thank you.
What was it like researching those, and how easy was it to come up with your vision of what they should look like?
Yeah, the good thing about Dangerous Street is that nobody cares about the characters. They're forbidden characters.
Except my granddad.
And Tom called me and say, okay, I have a project for you. That's forbidden characters, and we will do the series thinking about how I write a television series, a television show, but in comic books. And I said, Tom, I'm not sure about that. I don't know who are that characters. I know a couple of them, but no the children, not
Not
the Green
dingbats.
Team, not. Actually, they're bad characters, so it's just for one issue.
Yeah, right on.
But I think that DC sent to Tom all the trade paperbacks they put on sale. And when he received the book, he thought about, okay, that kind of weird characters are at the same universe. What happens we will put together in a same story. Darkseid, the Green Team, Starman, but the 70s Starman, the disco era.
The
Starman.
first issue special Starman. And by the way, anybody who hasn't seen this book, the essential conceit of it is, and this is a classic Tom King thing,
Yeah.
is that it's based upon a one-shot series that DC did in the 70s, the Inheritor to Showcase, which is called First Issue Special. And each issue was a different set of characters, a number of whom were created by Jack Kirby. And Tom rounds up all of those single issues, the characters introduced there. So there's a version of the Creeper, there's a version of Manhunter, there's the Warlord, and puts it all together in this book.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I like the series because the good thing about to do was put all the different characters, cosmic characters and very grounded characters at the same story, at the same tone. And now we are at the Dark Side planet, looking a lot of gods there and everything. And now we are at the desert with a few teenagers playing at the desert. So that's the challenge of the series. And I like it, but I have to say that my favorite series that I have worked on is Rorschach.
Of course.
Because
yeah.
I love noir, I love Watchmen Universe, and was a chance to try new things about storytelling, about to tell a story, too many flashback, fast forwards.
Yeah.
It's my favorite series I did with Tom King, Rorschach.
Yeah.
I love Danger Street too, but
I think your art really suits Tom's style. We'll
yes, because it's too easy to work with Tom King because he's always open to change everything.
yeah.
When I get the script of issue 5 or 6, I read it and I called to Tom and say, okay, Tom, we have a lot of different opportunities to do storytelling experiments there, but you have to write again the issue based on my drawings. And he said, okay, no problem. Well, do whatever you want to do, and we will change about to fix all the parts that didn't fix. And it's beautiful because you can do whatever you think is better for the story, and he can rewrite all the story, and he don't cares if the book is going to be better at the end of the process. So I love to work with Tom. It's very...
Hey, Bruno.
Oh.
There we go. There's the man himself, Dick Grayson, coming into shape. By the way, you might have noticed the deliberate mistake in the online program, at least, which in Bruno's biography, it says that he's working on Nightwing with Tom King. Of course, he is not. He's working on Night King with the great Tom Taylor.
That's a running gag.
Oh, is it? Is that what that's about?
No,
Yeah.
they like to play with that stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
Because many people confuse them, mixes them.
Yeah.
So they like to play that. So
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
They will not bother. Yeah.
Tom DeFalco, you're right. If we, the thing is, if you meet these dudes in person, you would never mistake them because you know, Tom is a tall, Tom King. Tom King's a tall, dark-haired ex-CIA type guy. Tom Taylor is like a bearded, quite husky Australian, and actually in tone they're very different. Tom Taylor also a massive Liverpool football fan. So Bruno, how did Nightwing come about for you?
We was finishing our stage in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
When DC was already thinking that we could be a good team facing something new, and we was talking about some big titles at some point. But when we mentioned Nightwing, I first thought it wasn't. I first thought my inner process was, it's not in a good place right now, Nightwing. I'm not sure, but then I thought, he's not in a good place right now, which was the chance to do something, because I like, in the way that Tom King likes to work with characters that maybe not much people care about. So I thought I could have more freedom, creative freedom with Nightwing right now, than with the Justice League or Batman or Superman. So I thought it was, I want to play. I want to try things. I want to convince them to do different covers, different storytelling. So I thought that I could have that in Nightwing. So Tom and me shared the same idea. We had long conversations about that. I had long conversations too with the colorist, Adriano Lucas, who is a very, very important part of the Nightwing series. And that's how it came.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, Bruno's won 2 Eisners for Nightwing. So round of applause.
I'm sorry, but I want 3. It sounds like I'm maybe stupid for saying no. I have 3. Yeah. Forgive me.
He lost 7, but he don't say that.
I lost more than I won. That's true. That keeps me where I like to be, in the losers side.
Eisner loser.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really works about Nightwing is it's a character I've always loved ever since the Nightwing incarnation of Dick Grayson was created. But you guys have really taken a leap up with how you put that book together. There's a lot of interesting kind of narrative leaps in the way that you write and illustrate Nightwing, that you play around with perspective a lot. There was that issue last year where it was totally done from his point of view. Mm-hmm. Does that come out? How do you get to that point? Does that come out of your conversations with Tom, or do you say, look, I've got this idea, or vice versa, or both ways?
We was already trying to make some experiments when we was in Suicide Squad. But there was a trouble or difficulties because in Suicide Squad we had a team with 9 members. There's a lot of focus to manage, and there's not many options to shoot so many characters in different positions. That has limitations. So the thing is that we was trying to make things. We saw that that Nightwing, solo series, one main character, was the place to try things because you have one focus, like one little ball moving around the scene, around the stage, and we could do this kind of tricks in Nightwing, but not in a team series. We like this point about the experiment. What weird thing can we do? The thing about the issue of the one shot with Nightwing moving around, we was talking about that in Paris the year before the pandemic, but we wasn't in Nightwing yet. And the other thing, in a bar, that's important. And the next weird issue we did, the POV, the point of view from Nightwing eyes, that happened in a bar in
Again,
Madrid.
In a bar again.
In a bar again. So, and Jessica was there. There's a picture of the 3 of us, really late by night, talking in a little table, saying, what weird shit can we do now? And we found that idea with beers, in a bar. That's our way to build things.
So your creative juices were flowing out of the optics of the bar. I get it, yeah.
No, we like to talk in person.
Yeah.
I think that synergy is important to find different ideas.
Yeah.
The bar synergy, he means.
Have you, Tom's over in Europe at the moment, isn't he? Tom Taylor. I think he's over in Europe at the moment. I think I saw he's in Paris the other
He
day.
has been in Europe. I'm not sure if he still is, but he was in Paris last week.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just wondering if you had a chance to see him this time around.
No, not this time. He's traveling with the family and trying to take some time for them, which is important.
Yeah. Mate, could you, before you get back to it, just show the audience your tattoo?
Yeah, well, I have, this is new. This is still healing.
Fantastic, mate. Thank you. So, mate, do you want to talk a bit more about? Oh yeah, right.
I don't know if that works.
Look at that.
Not always.
You should draw Batman for a living, mate.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
I try.
Can you talk a bit about the Rorschach project?
Yeah.
And what your intention was with that series? It's very successful for you both, the Black Label series. Of course, Danger Street was a Black Label series
Yes,
as well.
true.
Yeah. So what were you hoping to achieve with that?
Sorry?
What were you trying to achieve with Rorschach? What did you hope for in terms of what you had come up with?
Well, we didn't want to do Watchmen 2. Was that time. So we wanted to keep the Rorschach concept more than an idea, than a person. So I think that the whole book is a Rorschach test. So you can read the 12 issues and you have an ending and you can think about if that's true, that's all in the detective mind. That's the reason because the detective don't have a name, because the detective is the reader. So you get all the story, make your conclusions, and think about what did you read, and take your own conclusions. You know, it's a whole Rorschach test, but for everybody will have the chance to read the book.
How long did it take you? How long were you working on the book for?
2 years.
Wow.
I spent 2 years more or less in 12 issues and on every project.
Yeah.
So you have to think about pretty well what is your next step at the business.
Yeah.
Because the writers can write 2, 3, or 4 comic books for a month,
Yeah.
but you only can draw one.
Yeah.
Except if you are Damora, you can
Yeah.
draw
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Right.
but you have to think very well. What do you want to do next?
Yeah. You know, I think that's such an important point, and it's something that gets overlooked as somebody who works in the business of comics. What you've just said, which is the writer's opportunity to
Yeah.
bill versus the artist's opportunity to bill, particularly in a way that the better the artist and the more detailed, and there are some brilliant artists out there who are fast, but you know, for the better the artist, the more detailed and complex the work, often the longer it takes them.
Yes.
And that's less opportunity to bill. So you have to manage your life.
Yes, because I don't think about my time working. So my basic thinking is that I'm always working, and I have to get time for the family and for the life.
Yeah.
So I start the morning. I start to work at 9 or 10 o'clock. I stop at 1 p.m. for lunch, 1 or 2 hours. I don't know if you more or less the same. The schedule every day, your schedule every day for work.
All the time I'm awake.
That's the same thinking about all the artists. And I stop at 7, 8 o'clock to run or go to the gym or whatever. And I come back to work at 12 o'clock until 3 p.m., 3, 4. And I wake up at 8, more or less. I sleep 4 or 5 hours because it's my decision. I like it and I love it. So I don't have weekends. Well, I have conventions the weekends sometimes to have free
Like
time.
this. Yeah.
We spend the most part of that days sleeping.
Hey, except we're making you draw, so you know.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But yes, the thing is that I'm almost new on that. So I still have the energy of a newcomer.
Yeah.
When I will be drawing during 20 years, maybe I come back here and tell you, okay, I don't want to work. I only draw 2 hours per day, and I don't want to know anything about do covers or whatever. But now I still have energy.
Well, I think the thing is, Jorge, you've lived a life outside of your passion. You know, so you've been involved in your passion for the last decade.
Yeah.
But you've lived that whole of the life doing things that, you know, you're getting your paycheck or what have you.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I know the life out from the comic book business, doing a work that I don't like.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a dream come true now. It's like I had 2 lives. 30 years, normal life, working on a workshop, and now I'm living exactly my dream. So I'm working with the best writers of the business for Marvel, DC, a lot of publishers, company in the US. I'm doing trips for all the world, knowing new people. So for me, it's a dream.
Well said, mate. I'll let you get back to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, Bruno.
Hey.
More bar talk. No, so you've got, what was, before we talk a bit more about, there's a particular bit of Nightwing I'd like to ask you about, but what was your first exposure to American comics? What were the first American comics? When did you first become passionate about them?
As a kid, when
Yeah.
Here you call it, I think, the tooth fairy. When
Yeah, the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah. We call it El Ratoncito Pérez. It's a mouse, okay? But it's the same story.
Yeah.
He brings you gifts when you lose a teeth. So,
I think I like that version better, to be honest. It's a mouse.
I don't know, it's weird anyway. You don't have to think too much on that. The thing is that my parents used it the gift was comics. It used to be a kind of Mortadelo y Filemón, who is a kind of comedy comics, Spanish comics. But at some point, it looks like they didn't find it. But they found Teen Titans 1 from George Perez and Mark Wolfman. It was the one about the wedding of Donna Troy.
Yeah.
And it was a big shock for me because suddenly it was too serious, like, whoa. What is this? This is like mythology. This is too serious. So this was my first impact. But in a few pages, I perceived, mostly because of the way Josh Perez drew the people and the emotions, that the way that I suddenly knew these people, their emotional movements, and it was like magic. Like suddenly, starting from the end of a story, it was like a little bit shocking. So that was my first impact. Then when the X-Men from the 90s series approached and the Batman series, I started to look more for myself about superheroes genre, and I started to buy my first comic books. So it was a little step by step. In Spain, we had more presence of Marvel comics than DC comics because of the publisher was doing just a few things with the characters. So that's the answer, and that's the promised bad ending of my answer.
Thank you. And it's interesting you should name check the Titans because I've just before we met, I read them last year, but I reread the collected edition of your Titans arc for Nightwing. And what was it like getting into all those characters in detail? Because you've obviously known them for a long time, but I particularly liked what you did with Super Wing and the superpower version of Dick Grayson and Neron. Did you enjoy illustrating all those guys?
Yeah. For me, Nightwing and the Titans are something I grew up with. So I'd like to work more with the Titans because in Nightwing they are special guests.
Yeah.
So I hadn't the chance to work in the design or deeply study the characters in the same way that I did with Nightwing and Barbara Gordon, for example. But I enjoy them because they are kind of family.
Yeah.
And I think that their presence in the Nightwing series means the same. If you are talking about Nightwing, you need to talk about his family. And his family is the Bat family, but also the Titans.
Yeah. Amen. And there's a particular Bat family member who's my favorite out of all the characters you illustrate, and that's Bitewing.
Mm-hmm.
Bitewing is an amazing character.
Yeah, it's the new one in the house.
Yeah, it looks like his canine adventures is something that you really enjoy drawing because he's so full of life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what the character means. It's like a son. It's the fresh air of that energy that the dogs have.
Yeah.
Which is they are living the moment. They are happy to see you every time, and that's an energy that always gives you a positive push.
Yeah, yeah. Well said, mate. Thank you. Look at your. Should we look at that? Hey? There we go. Well, hey, what were the first US books that you read?
Yeah. Oh, like Bruno, more or less, because Marvel and DC were very well published in Spain and in the 80s and 90s. And we are sons of that era. Juanjo, even, it's a son of that era. Because we started to learn how to read with Spider-Man, Batman, mostly Marvel than DC, no?
Yeah.
Mostly Marvel than DC. But we are sons of that era. And I think that the new wave of Spanish artists are sons of that era. Because we grew up and we had the same week Watchmen, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, Bind Superman, so Dark Knight, the same week. So it was crazy. Yeah. And that's the way that I started to keep reading comic books my whole life.
Yeah. It was an extremely fertile period of time. Are there any particular European books that you're fond of?
Sorry?
Any European books that you're fond of? Any Spanish artists? Any Spanish titles?
Yeah, I love a lot of Spanish artists because in the 80s, 90s, they were in Barcelona. A lot of new artists. Now, some of them are working for the US, like Pascual Ferry.
Yeah.
They did the jump. Carlos Pacheco, Salvador La Roca, all that kind of people were reference for us, you know.
Yeah.
So he started the road that we keep following back his road to go to the US. And when internet comes, you have the chance to send your portfolios and drawings to the US editors. So it's easiest now than in that era.
Thanks, Jorge. Thank you. What I'm going to do now is, could we turn the house lights up just a little bit, please, a smidge? If possible, oh yeah. So we've got about 10 minutes left. So, and as you can see, I've been trying to tread very carefully about letting these guys draw and ask them questions at the same time. But it is now that time, if anybody's got any, take some questions from the audience. The gentleman in the front with the cap.
This is a question for Bruno.
Hi.
We were talking earlier about the rungs of the layers of going into the secret layer of the villains and showing Dick going through the motions of taking down layer by layer, all on one splash page. Who came up with those ideas? And certainly with the POV issue, was that you saying, I want to play with this idea and taking that to Tom, or was that Tom saying, I've got this idea? Would you be able to do it?
It's a mix. It happens along a conversation, like saying what could we do, and I will share sometime different approaches to the one-shot issue. In the first version, I was thinking about sharing the upper frame of the page, but having panels in the low side. But Tom said, no, full one image. And I was okay. He pushed it a little bit. It's funny because there's a Spanish edition of this. I don't know if you have seen, but it's printed in only one paper. So you can open it, and it's like 4 meters long. It's really awkward to read.
Did it take longer to do or plan that kind of issue, so the POV issue and that kind of framing? Does it take longer to, because obviously you've got time frames to put a book together.
Yeah. It took over 2 months because there was nobody's doing that for a reason. So I had to build different ways for the format of the digital size, because it's impossible to have this size with so many pages in high resolution. So I had to make a special format with double spread with ears, is what I called. So I could place 2 pages, taking a look at the other 2, the past one, the next one, to fit everything. then I had a low-res solution file with every pages to check if everything was fitting. Because when you do this, the size of the characters, the scale needs to fit. And the perspective, you need to do a lot of tricks because it's impossible to have a picture of this long without changing the angle of the building. So I have to do a lot of tricks to hide it. So it took a lot of time. The little details about the construction, the perspectives, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Gentleman at the back there.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, where are you? Hi.
It's okay to ask two questions. Sorry, just for Jorge. What program do you use? Because I cannot see it from far. And what requirement, what tablet do you use there?
Yeah, I usually work with Clip Studio.
So it's
Not this one. I'm still trying to know how it works, but I usually work with Clip Studio. I started to work on paper, but I prefer to work in digital because I like to try different lightings and illuminations, so it's easiest for me working in digital. Even I do covers and splash pages in paper sometimes because I like the smell of the inks and the brushes and all of that. But to do everyday's work, and mostly when you have fight deadlines, I work on digital. But Clip Studio. I started sometimes Photoshop, but for me it's better in Clip Studio.
And the second question is about AI. Has there been like any discussion, positive or negative, among your workplaces and colleagues about AI?
Has there been any?
Sorry.
Have you been involved in any conversations, positive or negative, about AI?
For me, it's negative. There is no positions, so they don't pay any copyrights and get your work to use it. I don't know. I think it's a hard time to the newcomers at the business because you have to compete with programs that they don't have any mind, and mostly with editors or people that they don't want to spend money, and it's the easiest solution to don't spend money and get art. But for me, it's not a big change, so it's always negative.
If I can answer too about that, first of all, I hate the IA, but not only because it maybe will take our jobs. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried because it's making a more ugly world around me. The AI only copy paste, but it doesn't have a soul. It can't do what it can steal the step that you haven't done, but it will steal everything we have done till now. It's a legal problem because of the rights. So it's you don't owe the rights of something you have done with the EA. And I feel that that only a human being has the right to build emotions to communicate to other human beings. And the idea that the people is learning that this is art, it makes me sick because it's confusing. It's altering in a negative way the world perception of art and of the human soul.
And a lot of fingers.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Sorry. Obviously, you're both most well known for your DC work.
que no escucho.
Si tuvieses que elegir un personaje de Marvel.
Oof, lot of them. I could love to do something more long with Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, the X-Men. I grew up with the Marvel characters, mostly than DC characters. So, Fantastic Four, a classic story of Fantastic Four set in the 60s, on the 60s. Too many.
You kill that,
many.
mate. That would be amazing for you.
Yeah. I had the chance last week to do something with Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight. And we did an homage story for the Sienkiewicz and Doug Moench season.
Yeah.
So, too much.
Brilliant.
For me, it will be in one way Wolverine, because as a solo character, as Logan mainly, I love the possibilities of the character, of an unbreakable character. And also the X-Men as concept is something that I love, because it's all about comprehension, about different kind of people trying to live together and do the right things. I feel that it has something powerful to tell, that metaphor about many important social things.
Thanks, mate. Anyone else? Got time for one more question. I'll ask one more question, which is, given that you're, how about you, Jorge? You're working. Do you still work in Barcelona? Do you live in
Yes.
Barcelona?
Yeah.
You've lived there all
Close
your
to
life.
Barcelona. I live close to Sitges at 1 hour in train from Barcelona.
And how much do you think that the culture of where you've grown up and that beautiful part of the world that you live in seeps into your work? And do you think that's part of you? You know, that what you actually do artistically.
Sorry?
So the beauty of Barcelona, I often see a lot of beauty in what you do. Do you think it's there in your work? You know, where you've grown up. Is it a part of you? Does that make sense?
I can understand what you're talking about.
I'm not sure I can understand what I'm talking about either. So basically, you live in a part of the world
Yes.
that's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel that beauty in your own work? Because I see it when I look at your work, and I'm just wondering if that's something you're conscious of. I suspect the answer might be no, given the fact that you're still giving me that look.
Well, now with internet you have access to everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's true that sometimes the greeters make the work easy for you, because I had a story with Moon Knight too.
Yeah.
And the greeters told me, on Wall Street in New York, there is a cars competition, and they start at that corner and finish on that corner, and they have at right that building, at the left the other building. So you have to check the map, what you have to draw. And sometimes I got a lot of comic book reference. So it's like Kirby, Dicto. They don't have internet. They don't go out from New York and draw all the work. So
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting about Ditko because if you've ever been inside his art studio, the view from his art studio is essentially the backdrop to any Spider-Man story he illustrated in the 60s.
it's true that you are not living in the US and you are drawing every day the US. And sometimes you see the other artist's work and thought, okay, that man is living there because he's drawing the things that you don't think about, like the street spots or signals or bars or whatever. But we are always trying to do our best to be more or less like if we live there, you know.
Mate, that is the perfect answer to a great question that I did not ask. I apologise for my rubbish question. Can we take a little bit of a parting look at Jorge's Batman here and give him a big round of applause? And Bruno's Nightwing, and give him a big round of applause. We're doing the images in reverse order. Gents, thank you so much for flying all this way and spending all this time with us this weekend. It's a pleasure to host both of you, and it's a pleasure to look at you creating your beautiful work and to chat with you. A big round of applause for both of these amazing creators. Thanks again to the Arts Council England, and we'll see you throughout the show across the weekend. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.